It's Chris Hardwick!
Greetings!
How are you, good sir?
Good, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I cannot wait to get into this preview because I think we can sum it all up with, hey, load a Chrome browser, and there's your experience. The end. But no, let's get into it. The Google Chrome Cr-48 Chrome OS netbook. We do have a disclaimer. This is a prototype at best, so we're not actually reviewing it. We're just previewing it. 1 inch thick. Feels a little heavy at 3.5 pounds, but when you consider all the technology that's totally not packed into this thing, that justifies the weight.
Yeah, it is a little bizarre. There's no optical drive. There's really only one USB. There's an SD slot. There's no spinning hard drive inside. There is, I believe it's 16 gigs of SD memory, and I think the only reason that we even know that is because someone did a teardown of it. Google wasn't really saying.
Now, some people say that the design of the prototype, which will likely change drastically before it comes out, but that this design reminds them of like the unibody, the MacBooks.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that there's no little screws in it. You can tell that it's that it's one piece. So let's just run through a few of the features. The chiclet keyboard is easy to type on, though it is not backlit. Again, a prototype. I mean, maybe that would change. You also get new shortcut keys on the top, like back, forward, reload, and full screen.
That's convenient.
But the caps lock is replaced by a search key.
Are you supposed to search for capital letters, or do they not want you using?
Google wants you to forget that capital letters exist. Honestly, I think they're
just whisper on the internet. Don't use capital letters.
Don't use because listen, when people are a little bit slow, I refer to them as all caps because only people who type in all caps they're special. You just push down on the touchpad to click it. It does support some multi-touch gestures like 2-finger scrolling, 2-finger right-clicking. No pinch and zoom, though. But again, it is a prototype.
Right. Now, as you mentioned before, it's all flash-based, memory-wise.
Correct.
So take me through a boot sequence, if you can.
It only takes about 15 seconds, and in case you can't conceptualize that with your brain, here's 15 seconds.
Oh, wow. I get it.
That's what that looks like.
It's like we're all booting together.
Wow, he really knows what 15 seconds is like. What a walkthrough.
All right, so there's the login, and here's what's interesting. I can watch the login.
That's Eagle Bruce Green.
Yep.
There he is.
There he is. And I didn't notice him load Chrome. That's quick to have a web browser pop up like that.
Well, that's pretty much all you get. There's no OS.
There's no desktop. There's no folders.
Desktop.
There's no icons.
It's a very interesting concept. I mean, they're really banking on the fact that we will all be cloud computing. First, you connect to the internet with the built-in Wi-Fi or 3G. You will, of course, need a Google login. Well, once you're in, that's the browser. That's it. That is it. That is it. You can't download anything. There's none of that.
I know there was talk of like, well, you can plug in cameras and plug in additional mice and plug in keyboards and all this stuff, but
we tried a bunch of that stuff. None of it worked. We plugged in some thumb drives. We put an SD card in. Nothing happens.
Well, okay. What about the actual web browsing experience? Because I saw some video playing there. Some of it was high def.
Yeah, it's very, very choppy. I mean, obviously, Chrome will support the latest version of Flash and anything else you can find on the web, but this particular netbook is a little underpowered. Again, prototype. Sites with streaming high-def video, they do run slow and choppy. We did a bunch of tests there.
But I did see the Chrome web store, which lets you sort of get different apps into Chrome OS, as well as if you're running Chrome on a regular netbook or a laptop at home.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, again, their web store is starting to fill out with a lot of different web apps. You shouldn't have much trouble finding an app for pretty much anything you want.
Are any of them good?
Yeah, some of them are good, I mean, it's an open source. Like, what do you want? Like, some of it's great, some of it,
I want a reason to have this laptop. That's what I'm searching for.
Well, these apps aren't really apps, Kev. They're just bookmarks of web pages specifically designed for Chrome. Like, they reached out to the New York Times. The New York Times has a Chrome streamlined version of their page. Now, even though we know cloud computing is on the way, it's a little disconcerting not being able to run any application off your hard drive. Personally, I think this is just a test. This is just a dip in the water to see if cloud computing, if we're ready for it yet, or at least to get us thinking in that direction.
Well, what if you want to do normal computer stuff again, like download photos?
No!
Okay. What if I want to edit some video?
Nine!
What if I want to just open some folders on a desktop?
Enough! There's no file structure.
Damn it.
Most documents can be opened easily by Google Docs. So again, it's in the cloud. You won't really need a file system to get them. Uploading pictures is a little more difficult since some USB drives are not supported by Chrome OS yet. There's really no way to troubleshoot these kinds of problems either. I mean, if you're on a plane, if you want to work on your computer on a train and you go in a tunnel, you can't do anything. Then it just becomes a paperweight. But
So no red tube in the basement unless I have Wi-Fi or 3G access down
That's
there.
right. That's exactly right. But they're really counting on the fact that and personally I think within 3 to 5 years we might be ready for this. But there's no media player on it, so there's no. you know, I keep thinking that maybe Google is working on a G-Tunes, like a Cloud Tunes. If iTunes, you know, takes the music into the cloud, then you would have a media player.
Right. Or they'll really solidify that partnership with Amazon and just deliver that as an experience.
Or that would be an experience as well.
Right.
But for now, you know, I think you noted when we first looked at this, like maybe they're just testing to see what people will complain about the most, so they know what to put on.
Right. Oh, here's the minimum amount of memory and graphics power that we need to put
personally,
in it.
I think, I mean, you know, your iPhone has more internal memory than this thing, which why does it need to be 3.5 pounds? It's just a prototype.
Okay. Well,
you know.
I mean, obviously we're not going to rate it because it is a prototype, but what does Google need to work on before the actual release? What is it going to take to make this little dip in the water something you want to dive into?
Thinner, lighter design, of course, expanded driver support for mice, USB drives, SD cards, any other devices you're bound to use with a netbook. I think it's going to need a media player. It's going to need a way to pull media on. It's going to need a word processor.
Right.
And then you'll start having a system that looks like something that you'd want to cart around. I mean, you had said that I think the future is you walk into a place, there's a screen, and then it reads your biometrics, and then your familiar home screen comes up.
There's everything that you know. But obviously,
Which is not there yet.
That's the future of cloud computing. But you're saying as a next step, potentially in the near future, there has to be a local aspect to it. We're not all ready to be in the cloud.
And I don't personally. I want a hybrid. I don't want all my stuff in the cloud all the time. I like to feel like I have ownership of some of it, and I like to protect it like a baby cub. So you know, I just want to make sure that we can do that. But I do want to say thank you to Google. I think it is very ballsy for them to say.
I completely agree.
Nerds love to complain about things, and for them to send out something that is not done yet and say, hey, we know it's not done yet. Take a look at it. Tell us how to make it better. I think that's a really cool thing that they did. So
I agree.
You know, it points us in the right direction. And it's a good look at what we might be seeing in the next few years.
Thank you for that preview, Chris Hardwick. We appreciate it. That's it for today's Gadget Prom. But if you have a gadget you'd like to see us rate, email us gadgetprom@j4tv.com. But